Joshua Zirkzee announces himself to the world in a Manchester United shirt, nicking it against Fulham. Manchester United won, Fulham nil. We're going to break that down. If you're new to the channel, make sure you get down, drop a like, and make sure you have subscribed. The road to 20,000 subscribers is well and truly on. We are steamrolling our way. We're less than 500 away now. So join me on this journey. Drop a like. Let me know your thoughts. I predicted a Man United 3, Fulham nil. I predicted Fulham wouldn't score. I predicted Man United would win. Just got the actual score prediction wrong. I actually thought it was a very entertaining game. I'm going to start with the Man United lineup. Obviously, they started without a striker and kind of in a bit of a 4-2-2. Mizrahi made his debut. A centre-back pairing of Martinez and Maguire. Dalot played at left-back. A kind of double pivot DM, Casemiro, Mainu. And then at times it was kind of a 4-2-3-1 of Diallo, Mount, Rashford, Fernandes. Then at other times it was kind of Diallo and Rashford, and then Mount and Bruno were rotating in kind of a false nine. I thought Man United first 25 minutes, I'm going to be completely honest. I thought Fulham actually played relatively well. I thought Fulham the first 20-25 minutes were pressing from the front. Where the good first touch, good little pass and move, 1-2 in the transitions. I thought they defended well. And then in kind of the latter stage of the first half, the kind of 25th to 40th, maybe 42nd, 45th minute, I thought Man United took over and really started to start and flex their muscles, playing some great play. Bruno Fernandes could have had 2 goals in the first half. Mason Mount could have had a goal in the first half. And I think Man United definitely should have took the lead towards the end. They were knocking on the door, going to half time, and you're talking about, you look at that bench and you think, right, who could come on and change the game? Could it be a Joshua Zirkzee? Could it be Alejandro Garnacho? Could it be a Scott McTominay, Anthony, Christian Eriksen? Could it be a defensive option from a set piece, Matthias de Ligt, Johnny Evans? There's a few options there. I don't think Fulham overall in the game held a bad account of themselves. I'm actually going to give a shout out to Harry Maguire, because I think Harry Maguire today saved Man United on not one, but 2 occasions. There was one time in the second half where the ball was getting played through and he kind of did like, I remember it years ago, Van Dijk against Tottenham, he kind of did something similar where, albeit the pass should have been a lot better, but he stopped to 2-on-1. And it looked almost certainly at that time that Fulham were going to score from the counter-attack, and they didn't. Maguire stood tall. You know, he did what he had to do. And at the end of the day, Man United come away, keep a clean sheet. Then they made a lot of changes in the second half. We saw the likes of Garnacho come on. We saw the likes of Joshua Zirkzee come on. And I'm going to be honest, from what I saw again from Marcus Rashford compared to what I saw from Alejandro Garnacho and Diallo, I think the wide pairing going forward for Manchester United, in my opinion, has got to be Alejandro Garnacho and Diallo. I think that is the wide pairing. It's going to be interesting what they do with the number 9 position. Is it going to be Joshua Zirkzee? Is it going to be Rasmus Højlund? They've certainly got attacking options. I thought Mason Mount actually had a relatively good game as well. Bruno, by his standards, probably a little bit disappointing in the first half. He had a chance where he could have probably put it on his left foot, tried to do an outside of the boot shot to the back post. Then I look at Man United. Could he have got a shot away earlier at the second half, edge of the box, maybe drill it far right corner, tries to wrap his body around and put it in a top left corner, sorry, keeper's left. And I think when the substitutions come on around the 65th, maybe 60th minute, when Man United brought on Garnacho and Joshua Zirkzee, that completely changed the game. And fair play to Ten Hag, because last season he got criticised a lot that he didn't change games early on enough. 30 minutes to go, took off Diallo for Garnacho, took off Mason Mount for Zirkzee. Later on in the game, he brought on Matthias de Ligt and he brought on Johnny Evans, and they kind of went to a back 4 of with Martinez at left back. I thought he had a very good game, and a centre-back pairing of Johnny Evans and de Ligt with Dalot at right back. I thought Dalot was good. I thought Mizrahi was absolutely excellent. For defensively, Man United actually had a relatively good game. You know, we've seen it in the past where Man United probably would have lost that game. It was only a couple of months ago which Fulham actually nicked it from an Iwobi goal at Old Trafford. I think they held a good account of themselves in terms of the match stats. They had nearly 100 more passes. They had 55% possession. They had more shots. They had more shots on target. They had more, roughly the same amount of corners. I believe Man United deserve to win. The goal comes from Garnacho getting down that right-hand side, putting a ball into a dangerous area, and Joshua Zirkzee kind of like passes it to the keeper's right, down into the bottom left corner, and announces himself to the world in a Manchester United shirt. I actually think his all-round game, the way he was laying the ball off into wide areas, the way he was holding it up, he looks like he's got fantastic feet for a big man. Let's not forget, this guy is 6'4". And in this game, Man United created 3 clear big chances, which, if you're looking at it in terms of from the coaching perspective, you'd be over the moon with that. Manchester City, on average, throughout the Premier League under Guardiola, have created 2.8 or 2.78 big chances in the game. Man United, I think, overall deserve to win the game. And the coach will be looking at it and going, well, hang on. Bruno could have had a couple of goals. Mount could have had a goal. Rashford, Garnacho got down the right-hand side, put a low cross across the box. And I think Tete just tapped it back into Leno's hands. I think Smith Rowe was a little bit quiet. I was expecting a little bit more from him. Adama Traore, always a threat with a pace, but lacks the end product. And I think Man United should be relatively happy. Interesting game next Saturday, early kickoff, 12:30, away to Brighton. Who knows how they're going to get on without the Zerbi. But I think overall, I think United should be happy with that performance. It's 3 points. It's a win. It's a clean sheet. It's a good start to the league. The only thing that's, for me, is relatively important in the first few games is getting points on the board. And if you can get points on the board and keep clean sheet and have good performances and create big, clear-cut chances and give, you got to remember, Mazzouri made his debut, De Ligt made his debut, Joshua Zirkzee made his debut. And when you add the likes of Lenny Yoro into this team, when you add the likes of, potentially Ugarte or a defensive midfielder, and you can rotate the likes of whether it's going to be Obi, who comes in as a kind of third choice striker. You got the likes of Rasmus Højlund that come in. I think Man United do have relatively good depth. I actually thought Casemiro had a decent game as well today. I think Man United at times in the transitions in the second half, obviously the game was more open. Fulham had a number of counter-attacks, and they tried to stretch them. They brought on the likes of Raul Jimenez. They brought on a number of relatively decent players, Harry Wilson and Tom Kearney for the creative side of things. But every time a corner went in, they tried to go, front post, back post. Man United defended it well. Relatively good centre backs in the air. When Maguire went off, De Ligt immediately was bodying centre backs and forwards in the air. In terms of his aerial dominance, and then right at the end of the game, Bassi has an absolute mare. Rashford's through, plays Garnacho. It should have been 2-0. And how did he miss that? I will never know. But the game finished 1-0. It's a clean sheet. It's 3 points. Man United move on now. I do think they're going to get a good result against Brighton. And then who knows, 1st of September against Liverpool at Old Trafford. And other than the Old Trafford game, their first 5 games, I think Man United should be coming away with 3 points against the likes of Southampton, Brighton. Palace away, going to be an interesting one. Evening kickoff at Selhurst Park. How are they going to get on? Will they have the likes of Gahey by then? Or they'll have Anderson, Eze? A number of their players, of course, are going to do it without Elise as well. A number of their players been linked with moves away. So I generally think right now United should be relatively pleased. Of course, fantastic for Joshua Zirkzee to get on the score sheet. And now it's about putting in good performances, building momentum. You definitely saw an improvement in the overall performance from Man United in terms of a team performance. They looked a lot better. One-touch pass and moves, not getting overrun by a team that was around mid-table. We saw towards the back end of last season where Man United just looked completely all over the place. And then somehow they won the FA Cup. So, what do I know? What do I know? Last season, losing to Fulham, losing to City, they didn't really look too too great, but today was a much better performance. And I do think we'll see a lot more from Man United. I have predicted them to get in the top 4. Let me know your thoughts down below. The road to 20k is officially on. Drop a like on your way out, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you all for watching.